Welcome to the Tactics Talk with Sam for the Southampton versus Leicester game. Sam, big match this weekend. Probably one of the biggest 6 pointers you can get this season. Bottom of the league versus 15th. What's your take on this game before we get into the teams?
It's definitely one to go out there and get something from the match. I definitely say it's a must not lose. And obviously, going there and winning, it really would put us in a position where we'd know where we stand. Because if you can't go and beat Southampton, well, where are the points going to come from this season? But they're thinking of it the same way. If we can't get anything against Leicester, then where are we going to get any points? So
again, both teams are going to be looking at it, thinking it's going to be a big match. And again, it is a 6 points again, because if we win, we go to 9 points. If they win, they only get the game going to 2 points between us. So it is a big match for both teams.
Still very tight, obviously.
It is very tight, yes.
These are the kind of games where we can start to push ourselves on.
FPL Onion says, afternoon. How you doing, mate? He also says, wonder if you think J&J Wink should start.
Stick around and find out.
I know, this is where we're going to get into the team. Sam, we'll start with you then into your team. Goalkeeper.
Hermanson. Can't really say much else.
I think there's a call to say that it's probably been one of our best players, and as well he's probably kept us in a lot of games where we probably shouldn't have been in. Arsenal could have been about 5 or 6 goals down. Again, another game where he just is, for me, very important to us, and I think he's a high level Premier League player. I can't lie. I think he will be in a bigger team at some point soon. But
he's definitely having a good start to the season. I won't get carried away too much, but he's doing well. It's keeps one of those things. They either do well or they don't really, and it's not like we've got much choice if he's not doing well.
Scarlett here says Danny Ward in goal. No, I'm all right, thank you. You can save us in the cup. He's not saving us in the league. I'm sorry. Clibo also says I will go and literally go mad if he doesn't play Ricky P or JG on the left. Okay, well, we might as well get into defence then, Sam. You start with your defence because, again, you've been away for 2 weeks. You've not really seen too much football, but you've watched both games. But obviously, what's your kind of take on these sort of?
I think my biggest take is defence is the best thing we have going for us right now. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't change it. I really wouldn't.
No,
my back four is the same as it has been all season. Christensen. I know there's been obviously conversations of can we start Pereira. Can we start Justin on the left? And whilst we can, and we can try it, there's going to be a point in time where we say, well, is Southampton the right game to start these players against?
Yeah.
And you probably say, well, the defence that we have now managed to keep 15 shots on targets at Bournemouth away and not concede. That's definitely not happening. But for me, I can see why you'd want Pereira in. I will pull it back to the Walsall game when Pereira did start. And obviously Cooper's seen something behind Pereira where it's like, well, I don't trust him because he's clearly not been good enough in training.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't good enough against Walsall, really, a League Two side. And there was a lot of players that weren't good enough. So it's not just him. But he did start against Walsall and he wasn't good enough against the League Two side. And I think if it's not broke, don't change it because we've not really conceded that many goals, and we've scored the right amount of goals. For me, we're competing enough where I just don't think that like the wheels are off to like, okay, how do we change it around? Because I don't think we do need to change it around. And like I say, I like Pereira, but does he need to come back into the team? For me, I don't think he does.
See, there was a comment in the chat, and I feel I've seen this a lot now. And I feel like it's very much wrong in my eyes. I think out of the defence, I think Christensen, for me, has been the most consistently good. I think he's been decent. And you can see from last year coming into this year, for me, he's showing his quality. Again, he got into a Champions League space with Bologna. He's coming to the Premier League, and I think he's barely put a foot wrong. Whereas I'm not saying I'm trying to put all the blame on JJ, but from stats, you're saying we've conceded majority of the goals through that side.
You either love it or you hate it.
Do you like it?
I think he's been all right. I don't think he's been. I don't think he's done anything wrong. To to be honest with you. So I think he's just been average. I won't say he's been out there and took on every game and done amazing, but he's been fine. Clibo's comment, last one, saying Ricky P is a great player and our defence needs to prove. Well,
I don't think we do.
I disagree. Look at the goals we've conceded, and you look at the teams below us. Southampton have already they're on -12 goal difference. We're on a -3 goal difference. We're scoring in every game, and the only game that we let in goals was 2 last-minute goals against Arsenal.
Oh, that's when we went for it.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things. How can you criticise much on the defence when a team that's been promoted again? You got to realise the standards for us is, to not get relegated. That is just the standard of football we're at because of obviously relegation and the players going in and out, money being tight, and obviously we were under a points deduction. So there's all different factors into it, and I genuinely think for what we've got, our defence has been fairly solid. And Passion, why is JJ a defender? People scrutinised him in the first opening games, myself included. I think he's actually turned it on and been one of the better players in the past few games, to be honest with you.
I think the Arsenal game did give him a bit more confidence.
I think the only I don't think the defence has been an issue this season at all. I think you can point out some errors from some of the players, but I genuinely think that the defence itself, for the quality that we have compared to some of these teams in the Premier League, I think we're actually doing okay.
Yeah, I will get into my team before we get onto the comments a bit more. So this is where, again, I'm keeping the back two the same. I think Okoli out of everyone has been one of the best players in the defence for me, as well as FaZe, because I think FaZe the last couple of games has shown his quality, and he's probably been not as hot-headed as we kind of put that name on him. Because he's been outstanding in the last couple of games for me, FaZe. But this is where it comes to the left back and right back, because I get the point of Pereira's probably our best quality defender. I will agree with that. But with how Cooper sets up, with always wanting one of the players to bomb up the lines and one of them to sit back into that centre back kind of third centre back role, Pereira can't do that. JJ can. JJ did it last year when Doyle was injured. He came into that left-hand side. He defended into that back three. And Ricardo went obviously more into the middle of the pitch instead of being in the attacking side of it. But again, I can't see Ricardo coming in because of the system. But as well as that, I can't see even getting in because JJ has been improving. So yeah. I think, again, it's the same back four for me as well. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And again, with the comments about Christensen being bang average and not good enough for the Prem, I disagree. I do disagree. I think out of the four, I think we are slowly finding our back four together now. I think we're finding our best back four.
It's good to have a lot of options available if we need to, have a different defender in. I think it could be worse. I think that's my biggest thing. Obviously, I know Clibo's put there. Again, of course you can criticize anything in any team really, and you can find the negatives in a lot of things. And obviously, there's going to be a lot more negatives to us compared to Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, because there's a lot of gaps in our football because of money talks, isn't it? They're bigger clubs, they got more money.
If you took away the 2 goals versus Arsenal, you'd be on -1 goal difference.
You said, listen, there's loads of things that could have happened and could not have happened. Against Bournemouth, people said we were lucky. I said I think we were unlucky to not be 3-0 up at half time.
Mate, I do agree with that. Yeah,
Vardy should have buried his chance.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things.
Onion here says, is 1 clean sheet in 7 going to be good enough? Sheets. I couldn't care.
We can have 0 clean sheets all season.
I wouldn't care if we scored 4 goals and conceded 3.
These are just the pedantic bits that don't mean anything. Who cares?
If you win a game 4-3, you'd still be happy.
Yeah,
happy and winning 1-0.
It doesn't matter how you win games or get points. If we beat Southampton 5-4, I don't care as long as we get the 3 points that we need to get against them. It doesn't matter. Right,
we'll move into my midfield then. I'm going to go first because I'm going to be a bit of an out there shout. I mentioned it versus Arsenal, and I want to see it again. I want to see it this time against one of the worst teams in the league. So I'm going to go Mr. Skip because out of all the midfielders, I think he's probably been the best quality. And then I'm going to go Alcanis. Be a bit more of attacking threat in there, mate. I'm going to go Ilkhanous in that more of a mid, like box to box role. I think he can do it. We need to see more game time from him. If he doesn't play, we're just not going to be able to play him at all. Then is that so? For me, I'm playing him in that role, and hopefully he plays. But I know he won't. No,
probably not.
But I'm trying to be a bit more optimistic with being a bit more attacking. So
well, yeah, well, I'm going to flip it to you. Mine's Skip as well.
Yeah.
But then you say be more optimistic. I'm putting Ndidi in there.
Yeah.
Because believe it or not, guys, he's the highest goals and assist scorer for us so far this season. You know.
Is he?
Yeah, he is. Do you know that?
Yeah, he is. But
scrutinised is at him. I don't think he's been awful. There certainly has been worse looking players, and you say what you want to say about him. He knows where to find the players to put the ball in the net. He's got 4 assists. A few of them are quite nice assists as well, and he's scored as well. You can say what you want. I'm keeping it like this because I think we need to change it around a little bit. We need to keep it the same to Bournemouth because we won. And if you win against a team like Bournemouth, and there's not many injuries, I don't think much needs to be changed.
Yeah.
Going into the game, and again, I think Ndidi's done fine this season. I think he's one of those maybe a bit more scapegoat players, and he has had some issues in his game. But which player hasn't had issues in their game? You can point out the issues from every player.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I am still going to change up a little bit up top because I do think against Southampton maybe we should be a little bit more putting them under pressure rather than the other way around because they notoriously are doing what we would probably have done under Enzo, which is they sit back all game and they don't change how they play football.
Yeah.
And that's what's
I think their manager's more stubborn than Enzo.
I never know. Like I said, their manager, they do the passing out the back for football, and it doesn't work to them. You can see with the negative 12 goals so far. That's what they're on. But for me, I put Ndidi back in the team because I think he's done all right, and I think he's fair enough to put him in there, especially over wings who hasn't really done enough.
I think the only part of me that isn't the biggest fan of Ndidi at the moment is from the first game of the season. His passing game, his quality. Yes, you might say he's got so many assists, so his passing can't be that bad. But I think over the 90 minutes in each game, for me, he only has about 10 minutes decent quality football time.
I think the issue with Ndidi, and I think this probably came a bit more from having Winks in the team, was that he was very much the creative person in that team. Like he was one that was, had to get the ball and take it forward. But that's not Ndidi's speciality. What Ndidi does well is gets the ball and finds that key pass.
He tries to.
Which
anyway.
I think having Winks in that team, the player that can push forward more, allows Ndidi to sit back and just see where the space is. Because Ndidi, he doesn't take the ball forward. That's not his strength. You really know that's not his strength. But we know his strengths are getting the ball back and finding the right pass, rather than taking it backwards. It's like finding it to the wings or through the middle, like he did for the Vardy goal, I believe, wasn't it? Around. Can't remember who did he passed it and Palace, and he took it around the player. I think that's one of his strengths that I think people might not realise. Again, he's one of those players which, myself included, there's times where you watch him and you're like, oh, this is a mistake, but I feel like the mistakes outweigh the positives a bit, and that gets. Is that
you mean indeed he has more errors than he has?
No, I'm just saying that when he makes an error, it outweighs the positives. As in, like you can see the negatives more than you see the positives. And that's
where I would say that I don't think I don't get me wrong, he had 2 assists against Palace, but I didn't think he had the greatest of games because I think the majority of the time he wasn't the best. That's what I'm saying. I think performance-wise he isn't great, but these stats for me are making him look better than I think he is in my eyes, anyway.
I think think he's a hit or miss player. I think that's probably the best way to. I think you can have a good game. I think you can have a bad game. I think it's one of the two. But then we'll move on to attacking. You've obviously put Ilkhanous in. I mean, I can go or you can go.
I'll go first.
I mean, we said this before. I don't think Buonanotte is going to start.
See, this is the thing. Like, this is why I probably would have put Ilkhanous in that role if Buonanotte weren't playing. But that's where I'm thinking now. Do I switch it so he plays in that cam role if Buonanotte's not playing? But because there is still a chance he might play, because he is going to be back in time. It just depends if he's fit enough to play. I am going to put Buonanotte in. I hope he plays because again he's probably our best player this season already, guaranteed, isn't it?
He definitely has been the most
influential.
He's been the most creative, I'll tell you that
Yeah.
much. I think he probably is up there for one of the best players so far of the season. And get your views and comments in, guys, to the teams. Obviously, as I think Phil said a handful of times, I know we've all said, none of us really know the best team because, like the start of last season, it took Enzo 10, 15 games for it to really gel, and it's okay, this is the right team. McAteer was in there over Fatawu quite a lot.
Marcel was in there.
And, they got injured, they got drops, and then Fatawu came in, and it was the right move. But it takes a minute to find out the right team and players. And I think you've got to give Cooper to that 10, 15 game mark before. And I think you can start seeing that, especially like the defence, you can start to see the actual starting team. The midfielders, I think, are starting to look like Skip, definitely, and then Diddy/Winks between the two. But then the attacking line, there's some things that I think potentially could be changed around. And Buonanotte should start most games if he's fit and ready to play.
Are you putting Mr.
No,
Man
I'm
in?
putting El Canouse in my team just because I genuinely think that Buonanotte isn't going to play because he only came back today, and like I've said a lot, if they're professional footballers, they can manage a lot of things. But I think I've not really watched international games, but I can't imagine he's played much of any football for.
I don't think he starts for Argentina. No.
I don't even know if he came on off the bench.
I don't think so. No, that's what I'm saying. It's all about the travel, isn't it?
FPL Union said that Argentina, they played at 1 a.m. their time, so it's a different time zone, isn't it, over there in South America? So it's just one of those things where I don't know if he's going to be 100% fit, ready, awake, tired. Who knows? For me, it's a good chance for El Canouse to come into the team and do something. I'd put Buonanotte on the bench and I'd start El Canouse, and if he's not doing anything, then again, it's like, hey, well, Southampton's a big game. If you want to work your way into this team, it's now or never, really.
But wouldn't you have said that about Everton? And obviously, people but I'm saying people slated him and said it wasn't the right game for him. And that was a big game as well. It's like, for me,
I think it was different.
What is a good game to put him in?
Well, I think it's different because,
you can sleep on the plane.
Yeah, I think it's a bit different because Everton. It was a bit more like panic stations, like where we're going to get this first win. And I think for me, if we can beat Bournemouth, and I know people are going to say not convincing it, but if you can beat a team like Bournemouth at home, you can go and beat a lot of these teams around us. And we've bought him, and if his Buonanotte is not 100% ready to play, and you need to start El Canouse, then start El Canouse. But like I said, I'd only give him the first half because I wouldn't give Southampton an inch because I think they'll take it. So. Some of these players, I'm going to start El Canouse. I know it's a bit of a different one, but I would start Buonanotte.
I think if
he's going to be fit.
If Buonanotte is not fit, I think that's the only reasonable option in my eyes, unless you decide to put Ndidi back in that camera, which I think everyone would say is the most ridiculous thing going against Southampton.
I don't know. Who knows? You say one thing and then something different happens on the pitch. So Ndidi could be the best player and we could end up losing. It's like, well, it's not Ndidi's fault then, is it? It's just
moving into the wingers then. And I think which two I'm picking.
Yeah. Because
I've been asking for it all season. It's not happened once yet, and it's definitely, hopefully, going to happen on Saturday. Mavididi, of course, starts since he's been getting game time. He's shown his quality. Yes, he might be a bit selfish at times, might be a bit too much, but he's one of the only people that, for me, that gives a bit of an attacking threat into the side. And then there's only one name, Fatawu. If he don't start against Southampton on Saturday, I will be fuming, because he showed over the last two games versus Southampton in the Championship that he can slaughter him.
I mean, Southampton haven't improved their squad massively, if at all. I mean, you can make the case for us. I don't think we've improved our squad really. Maybe
no, but I'm saying if we're on the same level then from last year in the Championship to this year, surely
we should go out there in it. And like I said, I don't have an issue with. People seem to have quite a big issue with Ayew, but he does his job well, and it depends on the type of football we want to play. Clearly, we're going for the more defensive style of football this year.
Yeah,
that just is what it is. That's a fact. That we want to play more a defensive style of football. So we've got the players to suit those roles. But against someone like Southampton, I think it's a big test to get a win away. First win away, and again, if you're going to pick up a win, the team to go and play is either Southampton or Wolves right now, isn't it? So let's hope we can do it.
Go on.
I put Mavididi into my team. I think he came into the team and he's had 2 good games. He's done what I thought he would do, which is get lazy and get complacent and not do enough in the past 2 games. He didn't do anything against Bournemouth. He didn't do anything against Arsenal. I think that's an issue in his game, was when he gets complacent and he loses his bit of spark. We saw what he did against Palace and Villa, and it's like, well, look, he's had 2 good games and he's another good game where he scored. And then he becomes a regular starter for Arsenal and Bournemouth, and he's a bit quiet. That's just kind of the Mavididi route. He kind of needs that competition to kick him up the backside a little bit. I'll start him. I'm not going to judge it too quickly, but I feel like if he doesn't turn up against Southampton, he's going to again consider being dropped. He's circling over the right winger because you're waiting in anticipation for who I'm going to put in. I'm going to put Fatu in as well because he needs to. If you're going to play Southampton, then play Fatu. Again, like I said, I think Fatu can be creative and good on his day. He got the start against Walsall, again, another one like Pereira, where if you're going to get the start against a bad team...
I thought he did quite well against Walsall. And again, I know it's League Two, but...
He did okay for the last 10 minutes of the game. The other 80 minutes, he couldn't get past the left back. Like I said, I think there's great competition, and I think fans obviously want to see Fatu. For me, I think you've got to look at it quite realistically in the way that when he has played or started, he's done nothing for us. I
get
it.
He
just hasn't, and I want him to do well because I think he can be this great player. But I also think I'm not willing. Same with Mavididi, to sit and watch 5, 10, 15 games of them just do absolutely nothing.
But then I'd say that about AU in the fact that he doesn't give anything going forward.
But then neither does Fatu because he's not good enough.
Because he's only played like 2 games.
No, he's not though. But because he started the first 3 games and he did nothing apart from an assist.
Maybe he needs his man on the other side of the pitch to help him out. Mavididi.
I mean, maybe, but I'm just looking at it from a factual point of view of when he's started and when he's played in almost every game so far this season. He just hasn't done anything.
Like I said, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to slate on.
You say Ayu's not doing anything.
I'm not slating him saying like that. I'm just saying that there's no attacking threat there. He does his job for what he's asked to.
Yeah, but there's no attacking threat from Fatu because he can't get past his defender every time he gets stops. Watch the games back that he's played.
Maybe so.
Spurs.
But doesn't he need to improve by playing games?
No, he needs to improve by getting the chance. It's the Premier League, and we're in a situation where we're going to get relegated.
Fair enough.
And if the players don't take the chance, like Pereira didn't take a chance against Walsall and doing something wrong in training, then he doesn't get picked. And I think it's the right decision to drop Fatu because he's not been doing enough. He's going for that wonder goal. He's shooting from the halfway line. I've seen it happen 3 times so far this season.
He's trying to do the Bournemouth goal all over again.
It's pathetic, though, to be honest with you.
So are you gonna change him out?
No, I think he needs to start, but I also think he needs to realise that if he's going to get starts, stop being, trying to be the 100% wonder kid. Do what you need to do.
He did it last year, mate. Let's hopefully he does it again.
Yeah, but he's not doing it this year, is he, though, so far?
No, I'm saying in the game against Southampton, he got a hat-trick and an assist.
If he's going to do it against Southampton, then great. I want him to do well. Like I said, I'm not criticising him because I'm hating him. I'm doing it because I want him to do well.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want us as a club to stay in the Premier League. And Ayew, so far, has been a 10 times better winger than Fatu has in the appearances played. And I know that Ayew is a defensive-minded winger, but he does his job well. What he does well. What he did at Palace, he's doing well at Leicester. What Fatu did last season at Leicester, well, he's took none of that into this season. He's getting completely stripped away from the defenders, and he's doing nothing. He's shooting from the halfway line. He's not taking on his men. He's trying to do some nice football, and it's not working. And I know it sounds like I'm hating him, but I want him to do well, which is why I want his game to be improved. And Southampton, I'd start him. If he doesn't do well, then again, Ayew comes back into the team.
I will agree that, again, this is a big chance for him if he starts, for him to prove himself. And again,
it's the Premier League. If players get given,
I don't think he's been given as much chance as I think he deserves from last year.
I mean, you can look at it right now if you want. Look at the minutes played to the game. So
he might have come on in the last 10 minutes in 2 or 3 of the games as well, which for me seems.
He's played at least 45 minutes in every match, average. I'm not over the whole thing. In the games played so far, it would total to roughly per game.
We'll have a look after this, but we'll get into the last position then, Sam, and our last as well because we're going to end soon. Yeah. Okay, score prediction, and
let's see what some of the fans
strike
are
up
saying for some of the viewers.
Yeah, he sleeps on the plane. No, you can do that.
Yeah.
Samuel Rang says, yes, only allowed 1 or 2 goals. However, do you think inserting RP will concede more goals? The benefit of having RP in the starting lineup will help with the offence and Fatu playing on the right wing. That means Ricky P. Do you think he will concede more goals by putting Ricardo in?
I think they're both, obviously, if you have Pereira and Fatu on the right side, they're very attacking-minded players, which obviously does create threat up top, but then it does also create no defense.
Yeah.
So, it's swinging around about. Yeah, they're probably better attacking, but they're also not as good defending.
Yeah.
So,
FBI here also says, do you think we will defend versus Dibbling? Looks like the most dangerous player.
Never heard of him. Not gonna lie.
This guy here. For 18 years old, he's been coming through the academy, and he looks like a very good player. That's why I put him in there against Factory, because he's probably one of their best players.
Like I said, they've not improved their team. We should go and win. I'm not bothered how they do. I'm bothered how we do. I don't care about their good players. I care about us performing for a 90-minute match. And hopefully they play, like I say, some of these things which people can criticise Cooper for is not actually Cooper's fault. You can only do so much with some of the players if they don't want to perform on the pitch. What else can we do?
Yeah.
Like I said to Mavididi, he didn't do anything against Bournemouth, but who else are you going to play in that role, really?
Fair enough.
Without people scrutinising Cooper. There's not much you can do.
Striker, scoreline. Backer?
No, is he fit yet?
Don't know. Good. Don't know if he's fit, but
no, probably Vardy.
Vardy.
The striker's definitely
but you will have been slated on Edouard as well.
Yeah, and Edouard's only played like 2 games. So
yeah.
And again,
I'm gonna go Vardy as well.
If Vardy's fit, I think he plays. He can be dangerous. He had a chance against Bournemouth that he didn't put away. All he needs is that one moment to get a goal, and against someone like Southampton, I think he might get a couple moments like that. But we've gone for 2 very similar teams, really.
But that's the thing. Now it's getting to the point of in the next couple of weeks we might only do one team because we're kind of agreeing on most positions. We've only changed 2 positions there, and that's
I'm still 50-50.
It's getting more settled
because Ayew is at least consistent, and Fatu is just Mr. Inconsistent.
Fair enough.
Like I said, I don't want to harp on him too much, but I hope if he does die that he proves that what he can do, right? Because I know he can do it, and I think he just needs. I think he just needs a good performance to do it. But he's got to stop shooting from the halfway line because that's not where the goal is.
Scoreline
against Southampton.
Go on, be bold.
I think I'm going to say I don't think it's going to be a thrashing, but I think it's going to be comfortable. I'm going to say 2-0 win. I think we're going to get a good goal fairly early on, and then just do what we do and just
Leicester not conceding.
So we didn't concede last game, did we? Against mid-table Bournemouth.
Yeah, very lucky not to.
Doesn't matter how.
No, I get it. And then
there was a match Celtic played quite a few years ago. They had 1 shot on target against quite a good team, and they won. And they faced 30 shots. And do you know what's funny is it doesn't matter how many shots you face.
As long as the end result is the
right
one.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And then before we go, I'm going to say my prediction is going to be 4-1. I'm going to go 4-1. We did it there last time.
4-1. Fatu hat-trick.
We did it there last time, mate. We're going to do it again.
Who's going to score?
Fatu.
How many?
Hat-trick.
Yeah.
Fatu hat-trick, and we'll give openings to go as well.
Last comments before we shoot off. Let's see.
This one, yeah, we'll do this one.
Locks, Fatu, more assists than Ayew, and played less minutes. Also, better defense. That's 2. Interesting. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I mean, you can probably. That probably sounds about right. I think, but again, harping on Ayew, like he's been a bad player. I think he's just a more defensively minded player. From what I've seen, if you're going to say, but if you say Fatu is a creative one, but the only thing you can pull up really is the defensive stuff. I don't know. Like I say, I don't want to criticise players because I just want everyone to do well. I think I just look at it from the games played and whatnot that Fatu hasn't been the most, in the games, and I want him to be in the games, but he just hasn't been so far. And I put him in my team against Southampton. If he's not going to do it against Southampton, who's he going to do it against?
Yeah, fair enough. Right, there you go, guys. Appreciate you coming in for another Tactics Talk. Me and Sam will be back next week as well for the preview to Forest, which is another big one for us, Sam.
Well, it's definitely big in the rivalry. So
Yes.
As much as
as much as they wouldn't.
As much as they wouldn't say. I mean, obviously, it would be a fun game, but
can't wait.
3-4
Friday night under the lights,
3-4-0 Forest winning coming, isn't it? Really?
Unbelievable, Sam.
Well,
right.
They're doing quite well, so you never know.
Make sure to check. There might be a watch along this weekend. We'll have to let you know near the time. We've got the Property Aftermath show on Sunday with Jamie, and that's at 10 o'clock. Remember, 10 a.m.
Yes.
And then on Monday you have
join us tonight as well. We're going live.
Yes, tonight for the Southampton preview.
Yes.
With a Saints fan as well. Make sure you Total Saints podcast. Yes, so make sure you check that out tonight as well at 7:30.
Jono and Simon
might
be there doing a video, and it'll be great to get their point of view on their bad start to the season. I think that's what they would. Let's hope
so. Even better, even worse start from after Saturday. But yeah, appreciate it, guys, and we'll see you all on the next show. See you in a bit, guys.
Cheers.